So let me tell you why fear is actually a good thing to have. I know this might be contradictory to what most of us have been told all our lives. I remember as a boy being encouraged to be fearless, to be tough, to get back up, to brush myself off, to not be afraid of taking a risk. But it kind of goes against our instincts, doesn't it? I mean, fear is a part of the human experience, just like love and joy and sadness and anger and grief. All these emotions fall on the spectrum of the human experience. So why would fear be something we should have less of? Why should we wish away fear or try to tough our way out of it? A lot of it has to do with the mindset that fear keeps us from doing the things that we need to do, keeps us from pushing harder, from going beyond what we're capable of. The thing is that that's only true if we allow our fears to hold us back. You see, fear is not something that we need to eradicate from our experience. We need to incorporate it more into our experience, not by feeding it, not by allowing the fears to overwhelm us and take over our ability to choose, but allow the fears to inform us. Ask yourself, what is your fear telling you? Right now, I want you to think about this, and in the comments section, tell us, what is your fear telling you right now? Maybe you're afraid to go for that job that you've always wanted. Maybe you're afraid to move out on your own. Maybe you're afraid to finally cut ties with your parents and say, no more, I'm on my own. Whatever the fear is, identify what that fear is, and then think about, what is that fear telling me? Because we have fears all day long. We have small fears about, oh, I'm not gonna get to work on time, or the barista at the coffee shop is not gonna say yes when I ask her to take out on a coffee date, whatever it is. We have fears that seem small all day long, and then we have bigger fears, bigger long-range fears about our lives. Oh, I'm never gonna be able to fulfill my mission. I'm never gonna be able to take care of my family, buy a house, etc. All of these things. So what do those fears tell us? I'll start with one of mine. One of my biggest fears is that I will somehow fail and not be able to provide for my family. Now, that's a big deal for me. It's what gets me out of bed every day. It's what gets me putting on my clothes, strapping on my boots, going to work and doing the hard stuff all day long. But I'm not without fear. I'm working with fear alongside me. So the fear of not being able to provide for my family is informing me how much it matters to me to provide for them. It's telling me how important my family is to me, how much I care about my wife, my daughter, my son, how I don't want to let them down, how I want to make sure that they're provided and cared for. It reminds me how much I love and care about them. That's what my fear is telling me. Now, if I don't do anything else other than observe it and acknowledge and bow to my fear, then it just lives over here as a voice, as an informant, as an educator for my choicefulness and my logic. But when that fear infiltrates my brain and I allow it to test drive the wheels of my psyche, then all of a sudden, I'm not in command anymore. My fears are. So this is the important distinction between having fears, being afraid, and allowing fear to be so, and letting fear take over our ability to choose. Because without fear, I might forget how much I care about my family. Without fear, it wouldn't reinforce how important it is for me to get up and work hard every single day. There's practical fears, fear of heights. When you step over to the edge of a cliff and you look down, your fear is saying, hey man, think about that one again, because that's a long way down. If we don't make that jump, we might not come back from it. Fear is valuable. We couldn't live without it. In the human experience, every emotion, every experience, sensation that we have is there to help us. Fear is not an enemy, it's an ally. Ego is not an enemy, it's an ally. Grief, sadness, joy, exuberance are not enemies, they're allies. But they are informants. We don't have to let them take over the steering wheel inside our brain. We can just listen, observe, acknowledge the fear, and ask ourselves, what is my fear telling me? What is my fear reminding me right now? It's telling me how much I care. It's telling me how much I want to be alive. It's telling me how big of a drop that looks like. And maybe I should think twice before I try and jump. Fear. It's not the enemy. It's an ally, as long as we choose to incorporate it into our experience and not let it drive the ship. I hope you guys enjoyed this message about fear and everything else we're doing here at The Rising Man. If you're liking what you see, please hit that subscribe button, share it up with your community, and tune in next week when we got some more fire for you, all right?